Prince Kadash giving all praises to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Bahashim, Rakakadash. If you get those abortions, your ass is getting arrested. That's going to be the title of this video, and because of this comment right here.
In my view, upending lives and impacting on the health and safety of millions of women. And I share the public outrage at this extremist court that's committed to moving America backwards with fewer rights, less autonomy, and politicians invading the most personal decisions that not only women, but you'll find if they expand on this decision, men as well. I think people are going to be shocked when the first state that tries to arrest a woman for crossing a state line to get health services, and I don't think people believe that's going to happen, but it's going to happen, and it's going to telegraph to the whole country that this is a gigantic deal that goes beyond. I mean, it affects all your basic rights. This is not over. Last week, I announced two specific actions. First,
but one of the key things he said, right? But the key thing he said is that he think people are going to be shocked when, women start to cross state lines in order to get these abortions done, and they're arrested, So he's kind of telegraphing what's about to happen. This is all the Lord's will. This is all the Lord's plan, because the Lord controls good and evil. He controls light and darkness. And he controls both sides, the right side and the left side. Satan works for the Lord. You read about that in Job chapter 1. Yahweh Shai, of course, he sits on the right hand. The Lord controls all, really, everything. So that's what he's telegraphing to come. You have to catch these little clues and stuff when man of that statue is speaking. They put out little clues. It's not so much what they're saying on the surface level. You have to be able to catch on to the clues and stuff that they're sending, and that's about to come. This is Deuteronomy 28, because it speaks about it in the curses, right? And I was reading over the curses, and I was thinking, like, if you look at these curses, right, and you look at all the curses being on a nation of people, right, and then you kind of look at it from a standpoint of like, well, I asked myself a question, is how would these curses look on a nation of people in real life? How would it look? And the only answer that I was able to get from these curses is it would look like what slavery was in America. So if you put all these curses that's listed, you manifest it in real life, what would it actually look like in real life? What could you point to and say that's what these curses are explaining? That's what Deuteronomy 28, starting at verse 15 and down, that's what it's explaining. That's what it looks like in real life. The only conclusion I came up to that it could point to is the transatlantic slave trade and slavery in America. That's the only thing. So it's clear to see that these curses is, and it told you to be on us for a sign, that these curses point to who we are, which are the true Hebrew Israelites, Negroes, Native Americans, and Latinos. I mean, if you go to verse 46, it says, and they should be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever until the Lord comes to take them off of us, which you read about in Deuteronomy chapter 30. So being upon us for a sign. So you see it happening, right? This is Deuteronomy 28. I want to jump back to verse 18. It says, cursed shall be thy fruit of thy body. So what does that mean? That means your offspring, your children will be cursed. It says, in the fruit of thy land and the increase of thy kind in the flock of thy sheep. So I want to jump around. Now I want to jump to verse 56. It says, the tender and delicate woman among you, which will not venture to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil towards her husband of her bosom, right? And technically sex is marriage, right? So when Isaac took Rebecca into his mother Sarah's tent, he had sex with her, and he knew her, and she became his wife, right? So to the Lord, that's what solidifies the marriage. So like, even if you do have a ceremony, the king will take his new wife, he take her into the chambers, and that solidify he have sex with her, and then she become his wife, right? So You see that today where a man go have sex with a woman, right? And most of the time, some of the time, she won't even tell him that she got pregnant. She just go down to Planned Parenthood and she'd go have an abortion, or she'd go do things like she'd take the morning after pill, which is also known as Plan B, and she'd go take that without him even knowing. And he really has no say. If he wants to say like, no, I want to keep the baby, but he don't have no say. She could go down and get an abortion, and he has nothing to say. That's an evil eye towards him, right? Because technically that would be her husband if he has sex with her. You see how it works. And I got another video coming because they're talking now. There's talks about them getting rid of the morning after pill, the Plan B. They talking about, they haven't done it yet, but they talking about possibly pulling those things off the shelf. And when they pull those things off the shelf, man, a lot of people that like, and I said this in that video, a lot of people that like to live that Sex in the City type of life. You remember the movie or the series called Sex in the City, the whole city girl life. They like to bar hop, they like to sleep, have a lot of one night stands. They got a new boyfriend every week. That kind of Sex in the City type life. Go down to the bars. They live downtown in the cities and the skyscrapers and stuff like that, right? A lot of them eat Plan B pills damn near every week, man, because they having unprotected sex, they having drunk sex. If they not on abortion, I mean, well, not on not abortion, but if they not already on some type of shot or some type of patch or something, you know what I mean, birth control, then they're going to take those Plan Bs, man. And those Plan Bs ain't cheap. Them fucking things be like $60-$70 each. So if they start pulling them, and people want to live that lifestyle, right? It's gonna be hard for them to get rid of the baby, so they're gonna be stuck with the baby, And this is why a lot of women are upset because they feel like it's taking away their power. Their power really to be wicked. And that's the way of the Lord. That's the will of the Lord. The Lord's doing that to them. So when all hell break loose, you're not, and you out there, and a man runs into you and he takes you, because it says their wives should be ravished in Isaiah 13, right? And you get pregnant, it's not good luck being out there in the wilderness and finding a condom or some type of birth control, and the man pops you, you get pregnant. You're not going to be able to run to no Planned Parenthood and get an abortion. You're not going to be able to run and go get a Plan B. You see, so all type of medicines are just going to be a major shortage on all of them. And when all hell break loose and shit hits the fan, you got to be mindful of those things. Especially the women. So this is just like a shadow of things to come. Right, now let's keep going. It says, and towards her son and towards her daughter, right? So it says she should be evil towards her husband, her son, and her daughter. How were they evil towards their son and their daughter? By aborting them. They're halfway. The Lord is putting them together in the womb. The Lord, it speaks about that in I want to say Job chapter 10, and I want to say in the Apocrypha, and with the seven brothers, that's Second Maccabees chapter 7. Here, let's see if we can find those. Should be edifying. Right? Oh, Job 10, right, verse 8, it says, thy hands have made me and fashioned me together round about, yet thou dost destroy me. So what does it mean, like, thy hands have made me and fashioned me together round about? That's talking about in the womb, right? It says, remember, I beseech thee, that thou hast made me as clay, and will thou bring me into dust again. It's just saying that the Lord is the one that and it keeps going and says, thou hast clothed me with skin and flesh, and hast fenced me with bones and shoes. So this is more of a literal sense and understanding of Job 10, and it's talking about how the Lord made man in the womb, which is the same thing you read in Second Maccabees chapter 7. Let me see if I could jump to that one too. Right? Second Maccabees chapter 7 verse 21. Yes, she exhorted every one of them in her own language, filled with courage and spirit, the mother, right? And stirred up her womanish thoughts with a manly stomach. She said unto them, I cannot tell how ye came into my womb, For I neither gave you breath nor life, neither was it I that found the members of every one of you, right? But doubtless the creator of the world, who formed the generation of men and found out the beginning of all things, will also of his own mercy give you breath and life again, as ye now regard not your own selves for his law's sakes. So it's just saying that breaking it down, that the Lord, she's giving credit to the Lord, right? Because she said, I cannot tell you how you came into my womb, but she's saying that the Lord created the her sons in her womb, you know. So the Lord is putting together that baby in the womb, and then the woman, you know, and along with Esau technology, wants to play God and wants to go down there and destroy and kill the baby, you know, by abortion and stuff like that, and pills and different ways, you know. So that's how she's evil towards her son and her daughter, one of the many ways. Verse 57, it says, and towards her young ones that cometh out from between her feet. What's that? That's birth, right? It says, and towards her children which she shall bear, for she shall eat them for want of all things secretly in the siege and straitness wherewith thy enemy shall distress thee in thy gates. And that happened literally too, because there's accounts in the Bible during the time of King Solomon, where it was two women and children, and then they had a deal and ate one, you know, and then the deal went pretty much wrong, and then King Solomon, and they both was claiming to be the mother of the child, and King Solomon, with his wisdom and his knowledge, he got down to the bottom of it, pretty much just roughly paraphrasing, you know. So there's accounts of that happening literally, and you see it today in different forms of ways, you know. So this is a part of the curses, the whole abortion and, you know, birth control and things and stuff like that. And it's not a good thing. It's not a biblical good thing, you know, even though the women of today, they believe so, you know, because they follow Esau. And that's why the Lord told us what he said: follow not the ways of the heathen. You know, you got to come up. That's what in Revelations 18 verse 4, it says you have to come up out of her and her ways, so you receive not her plagues. This is Isaiah chapter 3 verse 12. It says, as for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. And that leads to why a lot of people, and that leads to why a lot of men agree with the abortions. A lot of men be telling a woman to go get abortions because they know they don't have the money to take care of a child, or they're not in a position to take care of an unexpected child, right? And raise a child. And then they don't want the woman to use that child over them to oppress them in ways of like child support, which is a system that Esau put up to further separate our people and destroy families and destroy the power structure, um, and destroy us. You know, it says, let's keep going. It says, and women rule over them. The women rule over them with their children. You know, that's how women rule over man, with the children. They use the children against them. It says, O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err and destroy the way of thy path, right? Because we start following the other nations, especially here in America. We start following the Edomites. That's why we keep all their holidays and stuff like that, because we follow them. That's why we pray to an image of Jesus Christ, of their God, because we've been following them, and they led us to pretty much destruction. You know, they led us to destruction because we're following after them. So whatever they say is right, that's what we believe is right. You know, and that's why the women go get child support, because Esau put that system out there for them. So they said, look, let's go get child support. And then they get bitter, and then they oppress their man with child support, because that's a way of Esau. So it's really just a trap. You know, it's really just a trap. You know, it says, verse 13, the Lord standeth up to plead and standeth to judge the people. So that's what you're seeing. With all this stuff that's going on right now, you're seeing the Lord starting to bring that judgment. The Lord starting to plead with his people and stuff like that. You're seeing that. That's why a lot of things of old are kind of resurfacing today. A lot of the ways, especially like the multiple wives things and all that stuff, all those things are resurfacing today. You're starting to see the ways of old kind of start to resurface today, and there's being big talks about should things be this way, should things be that way. You seeing that right now, So and that's why we say, man, we say, look, I mean, it's just a opinion and it's just a vice, but if you a brother, you may want to deal with like the Latino tribe. You might want to deal with like the 10 tribes, the Northern Kingdom, cuz a lot of them, especially if you dealing with them if you have the means to, of course, you dealing with women from the Dominican Republic, you dealing with women from Mexico and stuff like that. So they don't really have ties to like the American system. A lot of men, and I've been putting up videos on my channel about this too, how it's been showing how men been going to the DR, man been going to Puerto Rico, man been going to Mexico, and they've been showing how they been getting treated. Shit, I even put one up of men going to Thailand, and they how they was getting treated like gods over there by the woman. They could have any desirable woman that they wanted to, and you talking about very attractive women they were able to have, and these was average regular men, but they was jakes, they was Israelites, so-called Negroes, and it made sense because you go over there and you fuck with them, they don't really have ties to the American system, so they can't use the American system. There is ways, but it takes a lot, so they don't have the money and the wealth to really use the American system to oppress you just in case you have a child or something like that. And then of course them they not really so much on that American mystery Babylon juice. So they don't really think how the American woman think, They're kind of raised to cater to their man and be that help me and peace to their man. That's how they're raised. So that's how they kind of treating the man. And I put videos up you can see on my channel of the man going over in these different places and the women pretty much treating them like gods, because we supposed to be god. God just means power, so we supposed to be gods to a woman because that's the order. First Corinthians chapter 11, we supposed to be the head of the woman and the Lord is the head of us. So a lot of men are saying, look, they're done dealing with American women, because you can't get married to them. If you get married to them and then you get divorced, and well, I think it's an 80% divorce rate or something like that, and you get divorced, then Esau's going to get on the power to take half of what you got. I mean, look at what happened with Dr. Dre. He got divorced from his wife, and she's well off. And he didn't leave her with nothing. He didn't kick her back out on the street. He was going to leave her with millions and millions of dollars and things worth millions and millions of dollars, but that wasn't enough. She was bitter. So Esau gave her the power to take hundreds of millions. I mean, look at Bill Gates. So men are saying today, look, we're not gonna get married. Bruh, if you go get an American certificate with any American woman today, you're a fucking goofy, and that's an opinion, but you're a fucking goofy. Why? What's the point? So you could just give her power. The Bible says, "Give not thy power to thy woman." You're not supposed to give your straight in your power to the woman, over you. So what do you need an American certificate for? And then a lot of men are taking it a step farther, and they're not getting these women pregnant no more. A lot of men are getting wise out here, and they're not just. But you still have, men that's in poverty, the Israelites, right? That that's just running around foolish, 2/3, and yeah, they getting everything pregnant that they touch. But a lot of men are starting to wise up and really be careful about getting women pregnant. They're not dealing with women unless they're on birth control. And a lot of men are starting to say, look, we're not dealing with American women, period. They're moving down to Texas. They're dealing with women across the border cities in Mexico. They're dealing with women from different nations, like different countries, well, like islands and stuff like that. Cuba, Mexico, like we said, Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic. Shit, I seen men flying to Thailand to start dealing with women. You see men flying back to Africa, men going to go Johannesburg, South Africa, which is like a build up city, pretty much like a rich city over there in Africa. It's damn near like the United States if you have the money. But you seen a lot of men starting to make those decisions and saying, look, they giving up on American woman. And then what you're seeing in return is a lot of American women are turning towards the the ABC boys community, the Pride boys, because they can't get men, And right now, I don't know if brothers been noticing or not, but there's women are having a shortage on men. Women aren't having a lot of opportunities to get men. It's not a lot of choices no more, and that's been kind of going unnoticed because usually women had thousands and thousands of men to choose from, but the Lord is starting to take that option away from them, man. So when you do go out to like a bar or a little club to have a little drink or something, the women are flocking to a man. The women are flocking to men right now. So just be mindful of it, and hopefully this has been edified with that. I'm gonna say salvation to the elect, shalom.